Tonight, Ukraine is warning of a possible Russian terror plot. Ukrainian President Zelensky says that Russian forces at the occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant are planning to cause a radiation disaster. The Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station is the largest in Europe. It has been under Russian occupation since Russia invaded parts of Ukraine last year. The International Atomic Energy Agency tried to negotiate a safety perimeter around the site, but to no success. And the IAEA says that the risks to and from the nuclear plant have only risen with the start of the Ukrainian counteroffensive this month, one being a possible release of radiation as a weapon to stop any Ukrainian troop advance. Here's Ukrainian President Zelensky speaking last night.
Russia uses the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant as an element in its aggression. It occupies the plant, uses it as cover to shell neighboring cities, keeps weapons and soldiers there. Our intelligence has received information that Russia is considering the scenario of a terrorist attack at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, a terrorist act with the release of radiation. They have prepared everything for this.
Well, my first guest is Daria Dolzikova, a research fellow at the Royal United Services Institute for Defense and Security Studies. Daria, it's good to have you on the program. You published a report in April which warned of the possibility of Russia doing what Zelensky now says they have concrete plans to do at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. But before we talk about that, I'd like to get your reaction to the claims coming from Yevgeny Prigozhin that Putin's reasons, or Moscow's reasons for attacking Ukraine, have all been a lie.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm probably not best placed to comment on that. Most of my work has been around the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, what's happening at the facility. But I think we've seen from the very start of the full-scale invasion that Russia has been spinning, a not very convincing narrative of what is essentially an illegal invasion of a country.
Yeah, and when you consider Prigozhin's claim that Ukraine is advancing on the Zaporizhzhia and the Kherson fronts, is the safety threat, in your opinion, has it become even more acute now?
Well, I think there's been concerns around the safety of the nuclear facilities in Ukraine for some time, precisely as you pointed out. We highlighted this in a report in April, but these concerns have been raised for really since the invasion, the full-scale invasion. Russian troops, once they crossed over from Belarus into Ukraine, occupied the Chernobyl exclusion zone. And a week or so later, took over the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant and have occupied it since. And Russia has demonstrated pretty clearly throughout the war a very clear disdain for nuclear safety and for nuclear security, and for the safety of civilians. So I think it would be foolish to underestimate the potential for Russia to cause some sort of incident at Zaporizhzhia.
Yeah, some sort of incident. Talk us through the scenarios of what could happen.
It's a bit difficult to predict what would happen. There's a few different scenarios. I think one possibility is that there is a legitimate accident. We are in a war situation. The facility is in an active war zone. So it's not operating in the safest of environments. So there is a potential for a legitimate accident. However, there is also the potential for Russia to engineer an incident. And that might there might be different options for what that actually looks like. Obviously, the biggest concern at the moment is the supply of water to the facility. Since the attack on the Kakhovka Dam, the water levels in the Kakhovka Reservoir have dropped dramatically. So there are concerns around the ability to sustain water and coolant to the reactors at the facility. The fuel in those reactors is very, very hot. It needs to get cooled, and it needs consistent water supply for that.
What needs to be done to prevent a release of radiation at Zaporizhia? IAEA Chief Rafael Grossi, I mean, we know that he is working hard on this and that he met with Russian officials today. What can he achieve? He's the only one who can do something, or is there someone else?
So the IAEA has been doing a lot of work. As you mentioned at the start, there had been efforts to establish a safety and security zone around the facility. The focus has shifted now a little bit to actually ensuring the security, the safety of the facility itself. So the IAEA has come out with 5 principles for the safety and security of the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, including not staging large military equipment at the facility, not staging attacks from the facility or attacking the facility. So I think it's important that those are respected. I mean, short of a withdrawal of Russia from the facility and a return of the facility to Ukrainian control, we're always going to be looking at a precarious situation. But, there are, technically speaking, there are safety measures in place, there are redundancies in place at the site to ensure that in case water runs out, in case there's a shortage of electricity, backup systems can kick in. The question for me is, how well maintained are those systems, and will Russia be willing and able to operate those backup systems? If they've decided that they want to stage an incident at the facility, will they actually allow those systems to prevent an incident? I think the most important thing now really that Ukraine's allies can do is make it as clear as possible that Russia does not stand to benefit from generating an incident to the facility, and that in case of a radiological incident, whether it's an accident or not, that support for Ukraine would not decrease, that it would increase from its allies.
Daria Dozikova of the Royal United Services Institute, we appreciate your time and your valuable insights. Thank you.